Hello YouTube. Today is August 13th, 2020, and I'm making this video because it's month 3, the 3rd month anniversary of the Thalamic stroke that I had back in May. So I kind of committed myself to doing a video every 3 months, and here I am. So the previous 3 videos I did were me being all bright and chipper at 5-6 o'clock in the morning and well rested. But today I thought I'd kind of mix it up a little bit and do one at the end of the day. So right now it is coming up on 7:30 at night. Woke up this morning, went to work, gotten my steps in and stuff like that. So pretty run down, just like a normal typical day. That's pretty much how I end up every day. And just a quick recap. So May 13th, I had a stroke in my thalamus. It's called the basilar artery. And I didn't have a full occlusion, full blockage. It was just mostly blocked, which meant I was only mostly dead. So I was doing some research on that not too long ago. And apparently a full like clot has like a 99% lethality rate. So I do consider myself pretty lucky. So 3 months has gone by, and I think I mentioned I went to work today. So July 15th, which was shortly after the 2-month mark, I decided I just had enough. Thought it'd be a good idea to go back to work. And I don't know that I was quite ready, but I've been kind of committing myself to keep pushing myself, and that's exactly what I did. So the major symptoms that I had as a result of the stroke was crossed eyes, which if you've seen my original video, it's like creepy and gross and totally obvious. That took about, I don't know, maybe 5 weeks to be mostly corrected. Balance was totally jacked up when I got out of the hospital, and I had to be very conscious and deliberate with the steps I took. That, I'd say, take a few weeks to kind of restore my balance and my ability to navigate. Got a lot better as my eyesight improved. So those were the 2 major ones that are obvious, like from an external perspective. The things, though, the way that it really affected me as like a person, as an individual, obviously those were pretty tough. Having to learn how to walk was pretty tough, and just the amount of fatigue that I felt, unreal, absolutely unreal. And so that has gotten better over time, but that still seems to be the thing that I struggle with the most. And a couple of other things, like I don't feel hunger anymore. Sense of inhibition has pretty much is mostly gone. And those 2 things, I don't know if I'll ever get back, but kind of weird. Like, before I would want to say something and be a jerk, and you kind of get that feeling like I shouldn't do this or I shouldn't say this. And now it's kind of like, after going through the process of saying a few jerky things and realizing like, oh shoot, I probably shouldn't have done that. I kind of have this logic path that, it's like I want to say something, I know it's going to be controversial. 1 second. So, I want to say something, I know it's going to be controversial, so I just kind of have to run it through like a logic process and like, okay, is this going to ruffle feathers? Is it worth it? Assess the risk and make like a just a logic-based decision on whether or not I should say what I'm about to say. So as far as the hunger is concerned, for a couple months, I kind of stuck to a schedule, wake up at a certain time, eat have lunch, you know, things like that. And I want to say, because I was laid up for so long, that I wasn't really burning the calories that made it so that I needed a 2,000 calorie, you know, daily intake and stuff like that. I found now that if I, you know, don't like, if I don't stick to that schedule, I end up suffering for it dearly. So, for example, you know, there were days where wake up and there's some joggers right there. So I'd wake up, not eat breakfast, and just go about my day. And then as the day progresses, you just start feeling worse and worse. You know, just not necessarily tired, but like, you know, like low blood sugar. You know, that's pretty much it. And so I would end up, you know, just feeling really crappy, feeling really tired, but I couldn't sleep, stuff like that. And it was just tough. So then it kind of clicks and you realize, like, shoot, I haven't eaten anything all day. Like, I actually need to eat something. And I mean, I would go just not feeling hungry. Like, I could probably just go until I dropped without eating. So more of getting back in the swings, especially being at work. I got to be careful with, you know, that, because it can get me into trouble pretty quick. The eyes still kind of have some issues. And, you know, when I woke up in the hospital on the 14th, my eyes were pretty much paralyzed. So I couldn't look up, down, left, right, couldn't control the movement. And it took me a few days to be able to get that back on track. I was just turning around at the mile mark here. So it was a long, tough process to rehabilitate my eyes and to get them seeing again. I always thought it was my right eye that was messed up, but it wasn't. It was actually my left eye that was messed up, but because it was my dominant eye, it caused the right eye to go off track, if that makes any sense. But what I pretty much had to do was train myself to find a focal point, which was usually about, I don't know, 24 inches away from my face. So I'd have to force a focal point where my eyes would actually adjust and focus on something, usually my finger. And then I would have to either bring it in or back it away. And you can actually feel your eyes straining to focus, because it wouldn't just focus on something, you know, 6-10 feet away. I'd have to focus on something close and then work my way out, and it was jacked up. So I have somebody driving on the canal road up here, so I'm gonna have to cut out for a second until I pass and until the dust settles. But it looks like these guys are just driving a little side by side here. So I trained my eyes until they worked again, and that was great. I'll be cutting back in just a second here. That's awesome. So you can actually see you can see the dust cloud right there. So train my eyes to look again, but the fatigue, I'm going to address the fatigue. So compared to where I was back in April and early May, I'm at, you know, 70%. My stamina shot, my strength is declining. I spent a lot of time laid up, being on the couch, being in bed. So naturally you're going to have some weakness as a result of that. But just the fatigue and you know, I start out about here, and then throughout the day it just kind of drops. So it's a little bit of a bummer, but no real way around that. So I go to work, depending on the workload, as far as, you know, what kind of brain work I need to do. It kind of dictates how fast my decline happens. So it's a bummer, but literally not a whole lot I can do about it. I just keep hitting it as hard as I can every day. Still go home tired every day, but I honestly feel like it's getting better, so I don't complain about it too much. When I first had the stroke, And I mean, I'm talking 3-4 days in, up to, month and a half. And it was so rough. Like, the days kind of blended together. I would maybe be awake 5-6 hours a day at the absolute most. And what it would be was I'd get up in the morning, 6-7 o'clock, go out for a walk, and come back 7-8 o'clock, I don't know, 9 o'clock, and just be completely toasted, and I'd have to sleep, and so I'd shoot for like an hour or two. It'd always end up being 5, 6, 7 hours, where I'd go to sleep 9-10 o'clock in the morning, wake up in time for dinner. And it got to the point where I was so dissatisfied with it. Told my wife, like, hey, I'm gonna go to sleep, but do not let me weasel out of going to lunch. Come in at 1 o'clock, wake me up, make sure I get up. And this would play out a couple days, and of course I'd win, and I'd just go back to sleep, and I'd win the argument. And one morning I just committed to myself, like, no, you gotta get up, like you have to. It's not an option. So took my little nap. She comes in, she wakes me up at 1. I'm all crabby, get out, whatever. And I laid there and I was like, no, I can't go back to sleep. I need to get up. But I was just so tired, like so incredibly tired. It's undescribable unless you've lived through it. And there's been a couple times in my life where I've been really tired, but I don't know if I've ever actually been that tired before. And when I say tired, I don't mean just like groggy. I mean like physically exhausted. So she wakes me up. I'm arguing with myself, come on, get up. And there's a study or something that I read a while back where it's like, if you talk to yourself in the third person, you get better results. So I try to do that, and I'm like, get up. You can do this. Get up right now. And I just couldn't. I was trying. I was actually like trying to sit up and things like that. I just didn't have the strength to do it. And what I ended up doing was I rolled off the bed, rolled onto the floor, and I'm just laying there on the floor. And I keep trying to get myself to get up, and I just did not have the strength. I was pushing on the ground. I was trying to lean up. I was trying to just sit up. I was trying to do anything I could to get up, and I just couldn't. And I was like, okay, here's the time to make that decision. You're either going to fall asleep again, or you're going to get up. And I wanted to get up, so I'm like, I'm going to do this. And so I literally like got myself up on my elbows, and I just started dragging myself, low crawling to the bathroom. I mean, it was like literally the hardest thing I've ever done physically in my life, trying to get to the bathroom on that day. And it was just every pull, every time I'd plant my elbow into the floor and pull myself, was just such a struggle. And I make it through the carpet. I get to the bathroom and I get myself onto the tile, and I just feel that cool tile, and I'm just okay, like we're getting there, come on, you can do this. And as sad and pathetic as that sounds, it was tough. I mean, it was really, really tough. And to make it from the bed to the toilet, maybe 25 feet, maybe. And it took me for freaking ever. I clawed myself over there. Everything in my body, propped myself up on the bathtub and the toilet, and to get me to sit on the toilet so I can go to the bathroom. And as I was sitting there, I go to the bathroom, whatever, I could just feel like the strength returning. And I mean, obviously I wasn't 100%, it was maybe 10%, but it was enough for me to be able to finish my business, flush the toilet, get up, put some clothes on, go downstairs and go have lunch. And that was my objective. And just by force of will, I met my objective. So, pretty cool thing. I won't dive too much more into it because it's kind of boring, but kind kind of gave me inspiration for future endeavors to really dig deep and kind of force myself through some things. So, it's been tough. It's been a kind of a rough ride the last few months, and it's just life. Like it's just something that happened to me, and I gotta go through it. August 3rd, I had an appointment with a cardiologist at UCSD. Really cool dude. Really, really personable guy. I love UCSD. I'm coming to love it even more since going through this whole thing. Every doc that I've dealt with has been excellent. Every nurse, excellent. Cannot speak highly enough about these guys. And the fact that they're in my insurance network is huge too. But great. Anyway, so I can't remember what I called the thing in my heart before. I think it's called a PFO. So cardiologist showed me the imagery of my heart, and when I had my stroke, when I had my seizure, I was all jacked up, and they're trying to not let me die till they could transfer me to a different hospital or whatever. What they do is they inject aerated saline into your bloodstream, and your heart sucks it in. And so they have this imagery of like the heart beating, and it's black, my heart's black. So it's beating, it's got the imagery, and all of a sudden it expands and it sucks in all this aerated blood. And so instead of being black, all of a sudden it's gray. And then when the heart contracts and pumps, you just see this little spurt go from one side of the heart where it should be to the other side of the heart where it shouldn't be. So the doctor explained to me, that's it. That's right there. That's why you had your stroke, man. That was the mechanics of it. So they still believe it's stress-induced, the clot and everything like that. The mechanics of it are that somehow this clot got into my heart. It shot across to where it shouldn't be, bypassed the lungs, went up to my brain, and gave me a stroke. So that's the mechanics of it, and hopefully I'll be getting that closed within a couple of weeks or a couple of months here. I don't know. I just hit a thermal layer and it's nasty. It's like 100 degrees out here. So I'm going to pause it in a second. But that's pretty much it. So work was tough. I showed up. So I was out for so long, I ran out of all my sick leave, paid time off. See that guy is over there. Okay. Ran out of paid time off. And so work advanced me a crap load of leave. And after a while of adding all these numbers up, I realized, dude, I owe so much time. It's going to take me 2 years of just working without taking any time off to pay all these hours back that I owe. And that was all the motivation I needed to get my butt back to work. So I ended up going back to work, and my job, my boss was very flexible, super cool. I have like 37 bosses. The guys I was dealing with were pretty cool, but I do work with some savages. So it took them a good 3-4 days before the knives came out. But I got wrecked kind of bad. So I normally work nights. I ended up getting pushed back over to day shift, and it was probably for the better. So I didn't fight or complain or cry too much. Plus there wasn't much I could do about it. So up until a few weeks ago, it was still very hazy. Just thinking, not thinking very clearly, just having a tough time cognition wise. I still have issues like reading things. I shouldn't really say it that way, not definitively, and not like to where I really can't understand things. It just takes more effort. So I'm a huge audio kinesthetic learner, And usually I can process along like 3 different bands, you know, read something, hear something, and hear something else, you know, or do something. And that, because I have to spend so much emphasis and concentration on one thing, is kind of not really how things work anymore. So, you know, I do have to kind of like hyper focus on something to be able to wrap my brain around it, and then work it and digest and work the issues. So it's a little bit slower. You know, it is a little bit slower. It was very tough the first couple of days, just because I'd been out of the game for so long, and so much has changed. And all of a sudden they dump all this stuff on you, and it's like, hey, type up a 5-page, you know, document. And I was like, huh? So I get it. I wasn't up to snuff. So hey, let's put this clown somewhere where he'll be a little more productive. And there we go. So I've been on day shift. Things have been a lot better. The only real issue is the fact that I end up super drained at the end of the day. And so that's again why I did this video now, so I'm not like this chipper chicken in the morning bouncing around talking about this stroke I had so long ago. You know, it's the real me. It's me. It's the end of the day. I'm winding down. I've done 20,000 steps today, and I am smoked. Like, I'm done. You know what I mean? I'm done. So fatigue is definitely still there. The heat melts me like butter. You know, right now I'm starting to get a stomach ache. I am starting to fall out. And that's one of the reasons why I'm still kind of doing office work, because I don't want to be the guy that goes outside and melts in the sun, and then, you know, all of a sudden we have work to do, and I'm getting rescued. So until I feel comfortable with that, you know, I'm just not really prepared to be that weak of a link in the chain. About 3.5 weeks ago, I requested a like a no cost temporary reassignment, up to a place that's cooler, a little closer to some family, and I haven't heard back. So maybe by the end of summer, I don't know. But the fact they even accepted it and didn't flat refuse it, I think is pretty cool. So I'm optimistic about that. And that's about it. So I think I pretty much hit the points I wanted to. Hope this wasn't too boring. I know it is a little bit longer than the crowd would like, but you know what I'll probably do, I don't know that I'll really have too much more of an upswing in the next month. So maybe I'll do one for the cardio, for the cardiologist and the heart surgery. Maybe I'll do one. If not, it'll be any major breakthrough, any major event, or probably bump it up to 3 months. So eat it. That's where we're at. So hope this wasn't too boring. I hope I kind of chronicled what I'm going through, and hopefully 20, 30 years I'll be able to you know, look back on this and laugh even more than I already do. Please post any questions or comments or suggestions. Thank you.